Okay, here's another League of Legends game coming your way, this time with Sona support. So I need to charge my Q before I leave the fountain.
Accurate, like a metronome.
And there we go. Lane matchups for this game are as follows. We have Jax top against Trundle.
Summoner's Rift.
We have Zac jungle against Vi. We have Gragas mid against Kayle. And I'm Sona partnered with Jinx against Draven and Alistar.
With perfect tempo.
So this can be a pretty brutal bot lane if Alistar actually knows how to land his combo, the headbutt pulverize. If he does that, we are kind of screwed.
Adagio, summoner.
For the early game, our goal is not to actually trade with Draven because that's suicide.
30 seconds until minions
Instead,
spawn.
we just need to play passively and farm up so that we don't die
From
horribly.
my mind to yours.
And I'll go over Sona's skills for those of you that aren't familiar with her. Her passive is Power Chord. Whenever you cast 3 spells, it doesn't matter which 3, or they don't have to be a certain order or anything like that. It's just you get a charge up here that will... One second. You get a charge that will proc on your next auto attack, and what it will do bonus damage and an extra effect depending on which one of her 3 spells here you've chosen.
Accelerated movement.
For Sona's Q, this is her Hymn of Valor. It gives an aura that will boost the AD and AP of people around you by 4 per rank. That's why Zac has 4 AP at the moment, and so does Jinx. When I activate this, it'll do a little bit of magic damage to 2 enemies nearby. It prioritizes champions, but it won't... It's willing to target minions if those are the only things nearby. And the Power Chord effect for this one is just double damage. The W is the Aria of Perseverance. This will give you passive armor and magic resist, 6 per rank I believe, and it heals whenever you cast it.
Order through music.
Okay. Okay, he has a Durant shield. Anyway, the Power Chord effect of the W is that it will reduce the damage that an enemy is inflicting onto you. So they hit level 2 already. We need to catch up.
With perfect tempo.
And her E is Song of Celerity. It's a movement speed boost that's getting nerfed in the next patch to reduce its AP scaling. Come on, Jinx, can you do it? Boom.
An enemy has been slain.
So, it says this is a 4% movement speed steroid. The aura adds 4 movement speed onto allied champions nearby. And the Power Chord effect of this is that it will slow the enemy that you hit with this by 40% with some AP scaling. So when we're chasing someone down, you may see me use that. And I'll go ahead and grab the Fairy Charm now. And finally, the last part of Sona's kit is Crescendo, her famous move. This is where you fire sort of a sound wave or something along those lines at the enemy, forcing them to dance for 1.5 seconds. This used to do, I think, twice the damage it does now, but that was changed going into Season 4, so it's pretty much all CC, no nuke. And it's your CC move. That's what Sona brings into a fight. It's AoE, it's a skill shot. Jinx has a Vamp Scepter, so we have quite a bit of sustain here.
Take that.
So that was the power chord for the... Okay. Crud. Crud, I wanted to shoot Draven with that, not the minion. So I burned through my mana. Have to play a little passive for now.
Take that.
With the Duran shield, he's actually pretty tanky, and it's just going to get worse when he hits 6. But anyway, as I was trying to lead into, Crescendo is pretty much your kill move. You CC the enemy in place, it's an AoE, so you can get the entire team if they're clumped up together. And hopefully you just rake in the kills then.
From my mind to yours.
And that's good enough to bully Draven out of lane.
A sublime duet.
So I'm just going to recoup my mana while we wait, dropping my ward here. And Alistar is a rare pick, you don't see him these days, so I can go over his moves. First of all is his passive. I don't remember its name, but it's basically a trample type thing. Whenever you use a skill, Alistar will trample the surrounding area, dealing magic damage to whatever is there, be it champions, minions, or even towers. So, a little bit of a nasty move. His Q should be Pulverize, which is when he slams into the ground. Good. Okay, he's level 5 now. So he'll slam into the ground, knocking whoever's around him into the air. His W is Headbutt, that's when he charges into an enemy and he'll knock them back if he connects with them. And I should mention that it is possible to use the moves in sequence so that you get a gap closer from the Headbutt and then you do your Pulverize to knock the enemy into the air. His E is a healing move. It's an aura type thing that will heal everything around him, champions, himself, and even the minions. So you can see there the minions are getting healed. That can make lasting around him a bit tricky, but the trade-off to this is that is really mana intensive. He can only cast like 4 spells before he's actually out of mana. And finally we get to his ult. It's basically this flat damage reduction type thing. An aura will go around him, I don't remember what it's supposed to look like, and he takes reduced damage off of all sources, towers, champions, even the epic monsters like the Dragon and Baron Nashor. So Alistar killed me. That means Draven couldn't cash out his passive. If you don't know how the Draven passive works, he gets a stack of Adoration for every minion or axe every minion he kills or axe he catches. And those stacks add up. And what happens is, once he finally kills someone, then he gets to cash out those stacks. They're worth 2 gold each, with a minimum cash out of 50, I believe. So even though we are bullying Draven quite a bit, he has the potential to make a sudden comeback with his
A
passive.
sublime duet.
Season 4 kind of indirectly buffed Draven because money is harder to come by for everyone, but his passive kind of overcomes that problem. Once he gets snowballing, he snowballs extremely hard. As for Draven's moves, the spinning axe is his Q, that's an auto attack modifier. The auto attacks that come from the spinning axe will receive a damage boost. The damage boost, I believe, is just based off of his bonus AD, and eventually it becomes powerful enough to be like 2 auto attacks in one. The trade-off is he has to catch that axe. So my goal is to mess with him so that he can't do that. So we can see here he has 73 stacks now. So that's going to be approximately 150 gold when he finally gets to cash out.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been
Okay,
slain.
Gragas got a retaliation kill. Wow.
Executed. You have been slain.
So, don't count on Jinx for dives here. That was still an execute, which is kind of hilarious, so they don't get the bonus off of that. And I have options here. I'm going to work towards the Sheen so that I can start making my power chord hit even harder. Let's see. And for Jinx, if you don't know how she works, her passive is whenever she gets a kill, assist, or has some sort of involvement on a tower kill, she gets excited and gets this massive movement speed boost for a short period of time that allows her to run down stuff. Her Q is the Gatling gun and the rocket launcher. She switches back and forth. The Gatling gun, as it sounds like, is a Gatling gun. It has an increased auto. It has a passive effect where every shot up to 3 will give her increased attack speed. Q, the rocket launcher. The rocket launcher is AoE, it can crit, it has a boosted range. That was her ult you just saw, but we'll get to that. So the rocket launcher has a slower attack speed, but more range, more damage, AoE. Costs 20 mana per rocket, so she can't actually just spam that. W is zap, that's when she fires her little taser thing. That does a lot of physical damage. I don't remember offhand, but it's pretty nuts. And you can see her passive right there. The trade-off for zap is it's very telegraphed. You get to see the course it'll take.
A sublime duet.
If it connects, though, it applies a slow, and it also makes the enemy visible if they're hiding in a brush or something along those lines. It's not supposed to reveal stealthed units, but I don't know if it actually does or not. Brian is supposed to be taking that out, but they say a lot of things. Okay, we're going back. Her E are the flame chompers. Those are those grenades she throws out. They take something like a quarter of a second to arm before they're finally active. And once they are active, though, they can root the enemy if someone steps on them. 3 top. And Jinx's ult is the Super Mega Death Rocket. It functions just like the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the True Shot Barrage. It's a skill shot that you have to aim. It can travel clear across the map, but more like the Crystal Arrow and less like the True Shot Barrage. It will only hit the first enemy that it comes into contact with, and it will spread to the surrounding area. So I'm heading towards Draven. Hopefully I don't feed him. So it will do splash damage if it actually contacts anything. If it doesn't contact anything, then it'll just fly clear through the map.
An enemy has been slain.
But the secret to the Super Mega Death Rocket is that it's an execute. So the lower the enemy's health, the more damage it will actually do.
A symphony of justice.
So you don't want to use it to start a fight normally. You want to use the Super Mega Death Rocket to end a fight. And in Alistar Rage, sure. So that's the breakdown of the 4 of us in the bottom lane. It only took me 17 minutes to do. But as you can see, we're not letting Draven get kills, so he's not going to start snowballing, and we can keep him under control. And I'm using my Q here just to proc my Sheen and get some more damage down on that turret. We can't actually fight him underneath it, sadly.
Has destroyed a turret. From my mind to yours.
Hey, it's Vi. And that was the rocket. Crud. And there Draven got a kill, so he got to cash out all the stacks he was accumulating. This got a lot harder than it needed to be as a result of that.
Shall we resolve this business? Shut down.
Didn't get to save him, but at least Alistar got that kill.
Accelerated movement, I concur.
Kinda low on mana, sadly.
He has been slain.
Now Jinx and I both have red buffs. How's Kale doing? Kale rushed to Lichbane, which isn't actually that good of an item to start off with. It's a pretty good second item, but when you get it first, you tend not to really have the AP to get anything out of it. Usually your average Kale will go Gnasher's Tooth first for the auto attack modifier on it, the increased damage, the AP, the CDR. It's a really awesome first item, compared to the Lichbane, which needs a bit of work. So, as long as I keep shooting him, I'm proccing
Has been slain.
the red buff. And he kept getting slowed, and as a result, he couldn't do anything. He just got kited.
Your turret has been destroyed. The fanfare of death. Your team has destroyed the turret.
I got him. The good news is, since I killed him first, he lost half of his stacks. He couldn't actually cash out everything he had. So, while he did manage to gain some lost ground, he's not actually getting as far as he'd like. So already got a Bloodthirster and a Zeal. Jinx is going for a Last Whisper second.
With perfect tempo.
And while I said all those things about it, the Lichbane not being a good first item, I'm talking about Kale. For Sona, this will actually work because I can pick up some AP off of my Hymn of Valor. It's not really that much, but I'm the support. I'm not supposed to be building AP carry. And the other reason why I want the Lichbane is because I can use its passive to help us chunk turrets. So, this will help us quite a bit in the long run. And Draven's gonna force me to buy Azonia's Hourglass.
Quarter time.
I don't have any wards out. He's talking about me not being the AP carry, but still need to do that.
Delicately.
So for the time being, Kale's Q has a 1-to-1 AP scaling. That's going to be changing in the near future, so that Q won't be as big of a nuke as it is at the
From
moment.
my mind to yours. Your turret has been destroyed. Accelerated movement. Concur.
And just like that, 200 damage to the turret. We really shouldn't be back here. We don't have the red buff to kite Alistar like we did last time.
An enemy has been slain. Quarter time.
So, one thing I should have mentioned about the Trundle pick is Trundle is probably the best counter to a tank in the game at the moment.
Has destroyed a turret.
So by them having him, it becomes a bit tougher for us to actually just try to tank through everything. The way his ult works is it steals half of our resistances, and it also heals him in the process. There's too many here, so we have to play a bit careful. And there's the surrender. So here's a quick Sona game for you guys. I went into things far more in depth than I probably needed to. It took up 80% of the game. And I swear these sound effects are resetting themselves. So the best way to deal with Draven is to prevent him from becoming a threat in the first place like we did. Since he didn't get an early advantage, Jinx started to go into hyper carry mode at this point. She was pretty fed, she was able to CS without much concern, so she was going to outscale Draven in the end no matter how the game played out. Then it also helped for us the other lanes won. Jax is a pretty good pick against Trundle. While Trundle's anti-tank, Jax is really anti-auto attack, and Trundle does rely on his auto attacks to get things done, so any fight between them would be ugly and take a while. They also have pretty similar builds now that I think about with Blade of the Ruin King and Triforce. than Kale. This would have been a lot more annoying if she knew what she was doing, but she didn't. So, we win. I'll put more thoughts and observations into the description, but for now, I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.